I'd like to actually talk about whose perspective we're talking about. So in flamenco, we usually have a dancer, singer, and a guitarist, and we kind of have to know whose perspective we're talking about. From the dancer's perspective, we all aspire to our 90 seconds of fame as a dancer. This is 90 seconds of fame and glory dancing a Bulerias solo. So this is called the patada. When I first went to Spain in 1998, I was like, why do they keep saying potato in this class? Like, why is everybody talking about patada? And I thought they were calling me a potato for a long time. And then later on I realized, they mean pata, which means feet. Gary, would you mind telling us what is the definition of a patada?
A short dance for Bulerias, usually in a party or something, or at the very end of a show, in a show setting. But it's the main characteristic of it is that it's got to be short. If you go too long in Jerez, like they do in some other towns that I won't mention, they pretty much want to get off the hook and get on. People will definitely start looking at each other like,
Yeah.
who do they think they
What
are?
do you think you are?
In this form from Jerez, the singer usually sings the dancer on. So I think that would be a major characteristics of a Buleria patada. Dancers, you just can't go on. I know you want to do more footwork, but don't. The singer actually is the leader of the whole thing, so the singer will actually call you on with a letra, and then you would respond with a llamada or something very short, and then you get to dance a full second letra, which is a whole verse of music. After the second letra, you have an option to do a little bit of showing off, which is called your desplante, which is usually no more than 3 or 4 bars of little feet. And then you're already singing a coletilla to get us off.
Yeah.
So this is like the first beginnings of understanding flamenco as an art form, because you really kind of have an interplay and a conversation between the singer and the dancer. And really the dance is inspired by the cante, not the other way around, right?
Yes, only two.
Because normally the dancer doesn't know what the singer's going to sing.
Which is very often the case.
They have to go with it.
And what are you doing in all this? What's the guitarist doing?
Okay, the guitarist basically is dividing themselves into 2 pieces.
Yeah.
Become schizophrenic. So your right hand down here is accompanying the dancer, and your other side is accompanying the singer with the chord, whatever chord the singer decides, because I don't know what the singer's going to sing either. And I don't know what the dancer's going to do. So this side is accompanying the dancer, this side is accompanying the singer.
That's so cool!
Yeah.
Yeah, we always say that the guitarist is the low man on the totem pole, but it's actually the guitarist is the glue that holds everything together.
Crazy glue.
Yeah. So from our perspective as a dancer, we have 4 components that we're dancing. The first is an entrada. Let's not get entrada and salida confused, because this really messed me up. It's been 25 years of dancing now. I just don't want to get mixed up. In Spain, you'll hear it interchangeably, salida.
You can say both.
But I would like to analyze it this way for everybody. A dancer will do an entrada,
Okay.
and then the next full letra, they'll dance the whole thing. A desplante, where you're doing some footwork, is optional, not too long. And then the singer sings a salida and we go off. All this takes place in about 60 to 90 seconds. So it's a very, very short form. But it's super spontaneous, and it should be super fun.
Yeah.
Although it costs a lot of people a lot of stress over here in Vancouver. But that's your interplay, and that's what we aspire to do. And literally it becomes an addiction. I've had people in my class for more than 20 years, and they just don't leave because it's always different when the singer sings a new thing,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Yeah.
It's because they keep all thinking uptight about where do I do this and counting and all that. But as when they get relaxed, so then is when they're gonna enjoy the most. And break up your patadita in something that you haven't done before, just because it's spontaneous, and that's when you're kind of feeling a gusto.
And it's really important because it gets us out of the Western mind frame where dancers are all doing the same thing at once. So it's very common here in Canada and North America to study in groups of maybe classes of 8, 10, or 12, but in its authentic form, Buleria de Jerez or Buleria por Fiesta, it should be actually dancers one at a time. So we're really aspiring to dance, be brave first of all, have courage, be brave, find our inner warrior, get out there and have our own voice and our own authentic expression for all of 60 to 90 seconds. But honestly, it does take months and months, if not years and years to get there. But that's what we aspire to do when we dance flamenco.
You can even dance. I think you can even dance. You play por bulería. You can't even go. Preguntar con cuerpo. Ojo.
It's more the Buleria, the Fiesta Buleria is more about personality than it is about technique. It's more about knowing the cante, being very familiar with the cante, than it is about technique. Because, like I said, you don't know what the singer's going to sing. So if they sing something you've never heard before, it's kind of dicey. But people in Jerez have heard everything.
Yeah.
So they know when the singer opens their mouth to sing a letra, within the first word or two, they know more or less where it's going. But Western dancers, dancers outside of Spain, generally don't know.
Yeah.
So they've only heard a few different styles of Bulerias maybe, and if anybody sings something different, they're lost or they're panicked.
And that's where actually we're super lucky in Vancouver because we have grown up together as a community of people. It's pretty hard to study flamenco as an island in a remote place. Like you really kind of need your singers and your guitarists all within one community to kind of get this job done. Yeah, so we're actually really fortunate in Vancouver to have this expertise and forums to try our stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, really.
It's interesting studying the buleria because eventually we all find ourselves in a circle. And the circle is a little bit of a magic shape because it brings everybody together. And in a lot of shamanic cultures, we believe that the circle has a healing power to it. So I want to continue on with the topic of buleria, really bringing people of very, very diverse backgrounds together. I think if it weren't for flamenco, our paths would have never crossed, any of us. And I think people find that really interesting, but very
It's
comforting.
intimidating also. It's intimidating also, right? So it's...
But it becomes a bit of a therapy and a little bit of a challenge for people to, learn this art form.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's like the way I see it, like Gary too. Like if I learn a patada from the school or anywhere, and then I picture myself clearly, it's going to happen. I'm sure after this virus is gone, hopefully. I picture myself in a humongous circle, and that I go no shoes, and I go
Hair down,
and there you go, do your patada, and you do your thing. But it's like not thinking about any technicalities, but being the momento. And then, of course, after 2 glasses of wine, because if you don't have wine...
It's easier to be in the moment
It's
when you
tricky
have
to
had a
have
few.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. Isn't it?
Well, some of the best Bulerias for Fiesta that I've seen has been like 60-year-old ladies,
I love that.
big and fat, with an apron and tennis shoes on,
I love that.
with no footwork, wearing tennis shoes, and that was and they just blow your mind.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything.
Yeah.
They do very little.
But that's the courage to just show yourself your own personality, just with the acknowledge that you have, and then just get there in the center, in the middle, and then courage, be yourself, and kapun kapun with your patada, and yeah.
It can be very humorous too.
Because
I've
it could
seen
be
some
exactly
dancers
that way, yeah.
make you laugh. You know, they
Yeah.
oh, you know, it's very funny. You know what they do.
It really depends on each person, how they feel in the
That's
moment
true, too.
and their own personality.
And who
Some
is-
people are very sensuous, some people are very serious, some people are very stern, some people are very militant, and then other people are just
Very cute.
jesters, right? So we
Yeah.
can be all, and all of these personalities exist within ourselves. So it's not even like we have to choose. It's just which
Yeah.
one we feel in that moment.
It's like you see El Funi, for example. Like he wears a scarf. He's a tall person and he's still alive. He's in Utrera and Nebrija. Sorry, and then he stands up, and that, by the way, these are Bulerias por Fiesta, but called Festero. The singer is called Festero when the singers stand up and sings a letra or two, and the only thing they have a bufanda o algo and they could go. You know, something really minimal, little, and they kind of communicating something about this language that is so mysterious, right? Isn't it, Gary? Because it's not about even the lyrics that he's singing, but it could be, and if he wants to, you know, stand up, and it's almost like he, in this case, El Funi is a super character. I encourage people to go see him in all these fiestas por Bulería de Lebrija, pero it's festive also. So he's an example of super authenticity, right? It's like nothing, he's not doing footwork, but he is moving through this space with so much grace.
And they embody so much compass and so much
And
rhythm too,
yeah.
right?
Some festeros they do a little bit of footwork too,
A tiny bit,
but
yeah.
minimal. Less is more with that style.
The most actually kind of youngest one right now we have Javier Heredia.
Yeah,
He came here,
he's very
and
good.
there is another young one.
Luis Peña.
El Peruli. He is like the vivid image for me that like chocolate, but festero style. And he's amazing the way he does, you know, he sings. And now
Luis Peña is another
Luis
younger one.
Peña, yeah. So
There's a lot of
Bulería is
festero.
a lot of fun. It's something that, you know, you can actually.
And there's a whole festival.
Yeah.
There's a whole festival, usually Jerez de la Frontera in September for a week,
Yeah.
right? And then of course you might catch some Bulería and Jerez
February.
again in February for the Festival de Jerez that I was talking about.
Also, yeah, there is all these caracolá de Lebrija, potaje gitano de Utrera, gazpacho de Morón, and many others. Tacón Flamenco, like this is now in Utrera, or was last year. So these are festivals.
We'll come up with a list and we'll
Yeah,
summarize it
festivals
for
that
everybody.
show up in the 1950s to 1975.
Yeah.
That's when the festivals came into life.
Cool. Well, that ends our musical segment.